Well guys, hello, welcome. I'm back in the woods. It's a fine day, cloudy, a little bit cooler than it was over the weekend. Had a stonkingly gorgeous weekend, but as usual I was working it. Don't mind working the weekends. Just having a wander through the woods. I brought some kit out with me to, if I find odd bits of wood to carve up maybe. I'm going to talk about halving a froe later. Someone mentioned that, can't remember who it was, but he mentioned about his froe keeps spinning round. There are ways of halving a froe which is similar to the way you halve an axe. It's quite easy really, but I shall go through that. I've bought a froe head with me and I'm hoping to halve it if I can find the appropriate piece of wood. Other than that, I'm just going to have a wander around here. I see they've been coppicing and doing other weird things in this wood. Yeah, it looks good actually. I like the idea of them sort of working it. It's nice to have them working in the wood. I think they're going to be laying some paths up through here. If I just turn the camera around, if you look from there, right through, as you can see it's well muddy. And what I think they're going to be doing is laying down. If you look over there, there's some ash poles and sweet chestnut poles. They'll be laying those down either side and then filling up this path with bark wood chippings. Should be good. Anyway guys, I'm going to turn off and I'm going to wander around for a bit and see you down the line. Well guys, this is a froe. Find the blade is on that side. It's not a sharp axe type blade. It's mostly done for splitting wood. I'll be demonstrating that later. There's plenty of wood around here. The word froe apparently comes from the word to froe, meaning the froe bit away, from a Saxon word. It's a good bit of kit. I mean, I highly recommend this kit as for splitting wood. It's great for making kindling out of. Originally these were used in woodworking, coppice working, for making spelks, which are very long thin bits of wood, for making spelt baskets, for making trugs, for making shingles for roofing a woodsman's hut, or for making shingles for houses, wooden shingles for houses and sheds. Splits wood really well. I prefer using one of these to either my knife or using an axe. An axe is great for wedging. I'd love to, and I might even have a go at splitting a piece of this wood out using a couple of wedges. I'll say, just a second guys. That's the one I want to halve. I shan't complete the halving today because I need some wood glue and a wedge, but I shall go through the preliminary part. If it's done right, and if you can see at the end of this one there's a metal wedge in here. This is one I inherited from Avalon's father. My favourite one actually split out. It had been welded there and the welding had just given out. I've still got it indoors. It comes in useful now and then. This is a broader backed halve with froe, if you can just see. It's a lot wider. It'd be great for splitting logs out. I do have a froe, I'm certain of it, that's about that long, and I was going to halve that, and blow me down, I couldn't find it this morning. So anyway guys, without further ado, I've got some wood here. This is the piece of wood I'm going to trim down to make the halve with. It's slightly wider than that, and so I'm going to have to use the axe and some other tools to trim it down. The handle is going to be about that long, so from there to there. You don't need terrifically long handles. I held a froe last year and I've got a terrifically long handle on it, and it's a bit cumbersome. So without further ado guys, I'm going to go and set up and get ready to put a handle, this handle on this froe, and maybe have a bit of a brew up in a minute. But anyway, see you down the line, guys. Right, there we go. I'm hoping it's going to be my froe handles. Big enough. And in fact, some of the rest of that wood I can use as making as a donk. It's a bit like a club. Anyway guys, let's get on. First things first, I'm going to work off all this bark and cambium bark. It's actually a piece of sweet chestnut, this. It's pretty good. I'm using my trusty jackboard knife. Good bit of kit. I have 2 or 3 different types of carving knife. This is my general purpose knife. And then I have a few maurers, maurer clippers. Quite thin blades, great for carving with. Most bushcraft knives tend to be a bit thick on the spine. Great for doing other things with, but the carving can be a bit too chunky. Fat sand, how about doing a range of carving knives? You have a look at the slide knives by Maurer. They're quite nice little carving knife. And maybe have a look at Ben Orford's pick knife, which is a really nice piece of kit for doing sort of engraving work and intricate work. Go. That's all the most of the bark off. Right, I'm going to go and get me. I'm going to find somewhere to sit down, go and get the froe handle and start working on it. Oh, I see there's some beetles doing this. That's the trouble when you're using found wood in the woods. You find that there'll be beetle larvae in there somewhere. As long as it's not too wormy, you should be okay. Anyway, knife away. When you're working in the woods, you never walk around with an open knife. Always put your knife away. I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to go and get my froe and start measuring it up. Right, I've got the froe head. Let's sit down on it. It's a bit lumpy and bumpy, but that'll do. Right, that's the froe head, and I think I'm going to use that end. And basically what I've got to do is just carve it down. So I've got my hammock out because this is a bit too bumpy to work on, and I'm going to sit on there and work away carving this down. See you in the next thing. Well guys, so I'm just going to sit here for a little while. I should start carving it, show you what I'm doing. Basically I'm going to shave this down. But as I say, it's very much like helving an axe. It really is. So I'll be shaving it down to about there, and so I can drop the head on. And you do all the usual things like as you would be helving an axe head. As it happens, I've got some axe heads to helve. I might have a look at some of this timber here and see if I can find a piece that I can split out and take a block out with me and carve up into a, let it season for a bit, and carve it out into a relatively decent axe head. I've got a couple of empty axe heads indoors. I say, don't carve between here. Femoral archery, cut it 8 seconds, that's it. You're carving with the angels, mate. Other than that, I always carve to one side or slice my wood up to one side. There are many types of grips and style. I like this scissor style for trimming down the wood. It works very well. Oh, but there's one knot there. There's a bugger. Right, find the froe. Where is it? Well, this is going to take a little while, guys, so I'm going to turn off the old beastie. Oh, by the way, all the noise you can hear in the background of machinery over that way, they're building they've knocked down a lot of old flats due to subsidence. This ground is very, very wet, even in the driest of times, and they stabilise the ground and they're building new housing. Some of it's a bit controversial at times, but people need somewhere to live. So they're building new housing. It's not too bad because we managed to save these woods. Anyway, see you in a bit, guys. Well, guys, there we go. I've carved it out. I've jammed it on a little bit. Needs knocking out again. What I will do is when I get home, well, actually I should do this. I shall cut a curve there. The width of that, the length, yeah, that deep. Cut to fit a wedge in. I've got some oak wedges indoors. A friend of me cut up for me when I was on a axe workshop. I should trim this round a little bit more so it can just drop on. I mean, one or two little gaps, but it's not an exact science fitting these round ones on. A bit of wood glue, jam that old wedge in, really work it in tight so it's as tight a fit as you can possibly get, and it should not spin around. It should be a really, really tight fit. And there you go. That is putting a handle on a froe. You don't need a handle to be much longer than that, really. It's there for just levering. Anyway, in a second or two I'm going to try this out and see what I got. I just got to get myself a little battening stick together. Well, there you go, guys. Works really well. Just split out a bit of a sweet chestnut. Yeah, well, chestnut does split very well, but it proves to me that the froe is working okay. I just got to make sure that I can help the longer one. It was just a little bit too wide, the log, but it worked well. I'm very pleased with it. You can just see there, that brown bit is the mallet or hammer I used. I'm gonna, well, I did want to make a mallet, but I've got to remember to bring my awl out next time. A bit of the wood that I split out, I've flattened the one end of it up, and I've never actually used this to any great length. It's my curved adze, Granford's Brooks jobbing. I got it when I was on a campcraft course. They were dishing out axes, which was part of the course. Everyone was given an axe, but I already had the axe. I asked if they could supply me with an adze, which actually worked out a bit more expensive than the axe, so in a way I got a bit of a bargain. I've never actually used this for carving a bowl. It's not going to be a very good bowl, but it's great. You notice that I'm working to my right hand side. I'm not working with, so if I miss, the adze goes through there and up into the woods. It doesn't go anywhere near my leg. And you keep your thumb and that above where you're working. You don't work it with your thumb down there, or else you find you've got the thumb on the ground. It's actually working quite well. It's getting used to it. Ideally you should have this fixed to a bench and you would work it like that. But this is the woods, I've got no bench. I'm just roughing out, and I'll probably finish this at home somewhere. I've got a bit of a knot there, but it seems to be working okay. Don't know what's going to happen to this, whether it actually come out as a bowl or just be a pile of chippings on the woodwork floor. Who knows? I'm just having a play, basically getting used to using the equipment. It was still pretty green actually, it's still quite wet. So I'm hoping it's not going to split out as it dries. I managed to get past the pith, which will actually stop some of the radial splitting. I've got my spoon knives and my hook knives in the pouch in the bag, so I should probably get back to those in a bit. And I love that smell. That's a wonderful woody smell that you get when you're carving. That sort of sap of wood. It's really nice. Actually doing quite well. Might get the axe out in a minute, do the sides up. Actually, it's doing better than I thought. Yeah, I probably need the axe to trim that down a bit there. Yep, it's doing quite well. That's quite a nice little, I'll bring it over to the camera so you can have a better see. Look, I'm getting quite a nice dent there, quite a nice little bowl shape. I say it's rough and ready really. I've never used the adze for any length of time, just sort of like a little play here and there, but just going to get the axe out in a minute, work off this bark either side, maybe try and flatten this all off. Got things like spoke shaves and planes indoors which will help give me a bit better shape, and just start working on getting the bowl shape. I say it's better if I can actually use the adze like that, but I've got no bench. At the moment it's sort of trying to make a bench up, it's a bit difficult, but there you go guys. I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to get back to doing this, and I'll see you in a little while. Well guys, I'm back in the man cave as you can see. I'll just go round and around. Right, my day out in the woods was severely curtailed due to that. I planted the adze in my hand. One piece of advice I would give, and it's bloody common sense really, make sure you really secure your workpiece. Next time I try and do anything like that in the woods, I want to make sure I can peg it down onto the stump rather than use a hand. You can carve, it's easier carving with an axe than with an adze by holding the piece up. But it was a lesson, and also got to redo my first aid kit. I've just come back from the hospital. It was a good clean cut, and the practitioner nurse was quite impressed by the way it was dressed. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the little bit that I did beforehand. I was hoping, as I say, I was hoping for a good day out in the woods, and it never happened. But you never know. Tomorrow, next week, I want to try and get get all the camping gear out, go through that over where I camp out. See you later guys.